You're listening to Sarah Hagan Backstage, with interviews and insights from years inside the music industry. Join Sarah as she talks with masters of their crafts, finding out what makes them tick both inside and outside of the music business. This week, Sarah talks with Nikki Glaspie.
Welcome to Sarah Hagan Backstage. I am so excited to catch up with my guest today, Nikki Glaspie. She is a Berklee College of Music graduate, and she was one of the original Beyonce all-female band members. She is doing a ton of projects right now, so we are going to catch up on all of the things that she has going on, as well as her really important work with the Harold Robinson Foundation, and a bunch of other topics. So come along with me as I catch up with Nikki Glaspie. Nikki Glaspie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. And it's so good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I mean,
on the screen. Right? I always say this is how people see each other nowadays, right?
It is, unfortunately.
But you have been up to so much lately. And actually, I know we talked back in, I want to say January, you actually had some live gigs. So you've been out there.
Yeah, I have been. I mean, I'm in Austin, so we have a lot of outdoor venues, and the weather's always great. So been able to do some playing.
Absolutely. And also, with the bands that you're in, with the funk music, and a lot of it is festival, you do play a lot of festivals. So that kind of lends itself to a lot of that outdoor playing as well.
It does. And I'm grateful for that.
For sure. And we were just chatting before we came on about the different projects that you have going on. You have like 3 different bands moving and touring right now. Can you give us an idea about all of that?
Yeah, so it's like I have 3 different bands personally, but then I'm also kind of freelancing with other bands, which I really love. I love freelancing because I get to play different music, with different people, also all sorts of music, all different styles. And it's actually been coming at me pretty quick, which is awesome. But like last week I played with Robert Randolph, which was just like a one-off. It was like real quick. He's like, yo, I need you to come to DC. And I was like, great, because I'm at the house, so I can go. I just started a new band, essentially like a new project, which kind of came out of COVID, basically, called Kamani. And it's Kat Dyson and Xavier Taplin and Matt Lapham. And, because of our schedules and we all have other bands, there's 2 other people that play in the band as well. Sean Martin, an amazing keyboardist, and Nigel Hall as well.
Wow.
So it's really cool. I'm loving the project because it is... it's kind of like a rotating cast, but it's like you never know what you're going to get, but you know that it's going to be funky, like either
Absolutely.
way, But the cool thing about it being rotating is that we play, different songs. We play different songs when Nigel is there or Sean is there or when Spud's there and Xavier. So that's what I love about the band. It's like versatile, and when people see it, it's like they never really see the same thing twice. Exciting and fresh, So I'm doing that. And I also have the Nth Power. Obviously, that's like been my baby since 2013. We're actually getting ready to drop an album, and we're going out on the road in September. We're planning to be out for 4 months,
Yes. Fingers crossed, right?
Fingers crossed. Like, we'll be out there bringing music to the people, and then I also have Nikki Glaspie and the Homies. which is pretty much it's a stationary band right now. I mean, I've done it in New Orleans, but it really kind of lives in LA, you know.
Yes.
And I was doing the residency like once a month at the Mint, and we were able to do one last month, which was incredible, you know, because like we hadn't played in, you know, a year and some change, you know. So yeah, but like I said, you know, just because of COVID, like I've actually started playing more with Mike Dillon, who's a percussionist and drummer. Incredible musician. He's like one of my favorite musicians, and we have a trio now. It's called Punkadelic, and it's me, him, and Brian Haas, who is also like one of my really great close friends. That's an accomplished pianist and composer. And we also have another band with Helen Gillet, who plays cello, and that band is called Tephra Sound. And that band is one of my favorite bands that I play with because it's all improvisational. Like we try to compose on the spot, you know.
Wow.
And people are like, that wasn't a song. We're like, no, we're like kind of writing it as we go, you know.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and people honestly, they can't believe it. They're like, we definitely have a special connection. Like I can look at Helen and kind of know like where she's going, you know, and the same with Brian. But I mean, once you like start playing with musicians and really, you know, kind of learn their style, it just goes hand in hand. It's like, okay, I kind of know where you're going with this, you know?
Right.
And even if they're not going that way, that's kind of the cool thing about the band is that we're very quick. We have a very quick reaction time, you know? So literally within a half a beat, we have decided, the three of us have decided, okay, we're going to go here, you know?
That's fantastic.
Oh, it's so much fun. I can't wait for people to see it. We've released a record like in 2016, and it's called Horizon. And we just recorded a new album over the course of maybe like 4 months because Helen and Brian, they both live in New Orleans, and I'm not that far. I'm like down the street, you know? So I go over there, and we've been playing some gigs around town there. So
That's
yeah,
so great.
I mean, there's a lot of music happening right now. I'm playing a lot of different types of music, and this is keeping me sharp. Like I love it. I love like playing blues 1 minute and then playing rock and roll the next, and then jazz, and then funk. Like, you know,
I love that too. I mean, I just always know that when I call you, and in the past, of course, things have been different over the past year and a half, but in the past, when I called you, I would say, where are you? Where in the world are you? Right? Like, not only where in the world are you, but what are you doing now? Like, who are you playing with right now? Because you do have such an incredible like breadth of you know, genres that you play with, and your style varies so much, and it's amazing. You're always doing something new and different. Always doing something that kind of like surprises me when I hear it or when I see you. Sometimes you're singing while you play, which is like amazing to me when I see that, because you know, drumming's so rhythmic, and then the vocals are just like a whole different animal. So I love it when drummers sing. It's amazing.
Some of my favorite singers were drummers, you know, and a lot of people don't really know that. Like Marvin Gaye was a drummer, you know,
right.
Like
Stevie Wonder,
singers of all, Stevie Wonder,
Lenny Kravitz,
like I mean, there's a list of, you know, singing drummers. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand, even though people don't really associate singing with drumming, you know. But kind of does.
Yeah, well, and also when I see drummers like you who really have like a beautiful way of playing around the kit that's very melodic, you know, when I see you solo, it's very melodic too. And to me, that's like it's the same. It's like the melody that's coming out. It's almost like you're singing through the drums. You can hear someone play and they're like really kind of strictly rhythmic, and then you can hear someone play drums really melodically. And that's how I see you play.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah. So you have so much, you have so much going on. I do want to talk a little bit about the Nth Power, because you refer to that as like your baby and your passion project. And yeah. And so I just think like when I hear the Nth Power, I just see so much of you in it. And like, you know, some of the lyrics are really powerful, and the songs, I'm thinking about the song To Purchase the Truth, in particular, of course, with everything we were just talking about, you know, the media and everything we hear and the things that we aren't sure of what to believe about and all of that. And I just feel like it's a really like poignant song.
Yeah, it is. And when we wrote it, it was, you know, so it's one of those things like, okay, you know, when your grandparents were kids, you know, their parents were like, oh man, the world is messed up, you know, like this is terrible, and you kids are just, you're crazy, you're, you know, you're doing all these things, and then like you go to the next generation and it's like worse, in the next generation and it's worse, but really it's kind of like the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like we're in this generation now and we're like, oh my God, the world's on fire. Like, guess what? The world was on fire 100 years ago.
Right. In
and
different
it was on
ways.
Fire 200 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If you look at history, like, okay, what year is it right now? It's 2021, right? So like 100 years ago, what was happening? World War I. It's like you got to put it in perspective, you know? The whole world was at war like 100 years ago. And then like 20 something years after that, the whole world was at war again, you know? And we had to deal with the Spanish flu, and we had to deal with polio. We had to deal with like all these things, you know, over the course of time. And I just feel like this is another one of those things. It's another, you know, thing that we have to deal with as humans.
Sure.
Like, you know, we just haven't seen it in our lifetime.
Right, exactly.
But, you know, our grandparents and great-grandparents dealt with this previous to us, you know, and we're here. And it's just like it keeps going, you know. But inside of that, you know, the Nth Power tries to, I mean, our whole goal is to show other people more compassion, show other people more love, you know, because we do believe that love is the key, you know, to fixing some things. Obviously, like not everything, but if we show love towards the earth, you know, it's kind of like it's you have to give it to everything, you know. It's not just people, you know, like we live on this earth and we need to respect it. And it's like we just suck it dry for all its resources, you know.
Right.
But it's really just kind of like a point of view, you know, and truth is like, it's that song, you know, that could have been written 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Like, it's still like, it's gonna ring true in the next 100 years. You
Absolutely.
know?
Yeah. It's relevant. It's so relevant. Yeah.
It's relevant. So, I mean, and it's interesting that, we wrote it a couple years ago, but like we performed it the other day at Peach Fest. And as Nick was like singing the song, I could see his brain like realizing the words, you know,
processing
that were coming out. Yeah, like processing it. even though like we wrote it, it's just like, man, this is exactly what's happening right now.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I think that what makes it for right now, where you said, we all think the world's on fire, and I think that the information that's coming at us from all around the world, and it's coming at lightning speed, we're instantly aware of everything going on all over the world. I think that kind of contributes to it. Whereas back in the day, you may have only had the information like relative to your
carrier pigeons
area.
Yeah. Like it would take, 12 months to get a letter or something.
Yeah. And then you'd be like, oh yeah, that ended, That ended.
It's over. Yeah. So absolutely. Like technology definitely has a major hand, in the impending doom.
Right.
It's like every day, which is, I'll say this publicly. I probably stopped watching the news. Maybe what year is it? Maybe like 12 or 13 years ago, because it was affecting my mental health.
Sure.
Every time I turned on the news, someone was shot, someone was bombed, a country was bombed, there was famine, there was just like, it's just a constant onslaught of terrible
negativity.
I take that. Like I can't, because like I feel for people, and
I agree.
I have to, I think that we as humans, we have to control like the intake, because it will eventually change you. There is a thing such as, desensitization, you know what I mean? Like people are becoming desensitized from seeing murder.
Yeah.
Like in real time, and that's just, it's unconceivable. I mean, when I was a kid, I can't imagine being 6 years old having one of these.
Right. Yes. Having access to an iPhone like you just held up, or video games and all of that. I know it's like it's a whole other topic, but it's so true that there's like this reality that kids are living that they nowadays that they think is reality, and it's not, right? And if we think about back to when we were kids and what video games looked like and all the pixelated, images and how far they've come, and it looks real. Like sometimes I'll see a commercial for a video game on television and I'll think it's a movie because it's so
real and lifelike. And I mean, obviously, like we could talk about this forever, just the types of imagery that kids see these days, and their intake and how it shapes them developmentally, which is a big thing. You're not supposed to see certain things or hear certain things, or if your brain can't really like comprehend like what's happening,
right.
And our brains are only wired for two things, it's like fight or flight. So like the way that we process information is like it's either like it's either like danger or not. It's just one or two things,
right.
It's an instinctual thing that like keeps us alive, but it's like a lot of people don't understand that is like how the brain works, and the more that you have that, the more that your filter is just kind of
skewed, right? Skewed. I agree. Absolutely. I agree.
But with all that being said, it's like there is hope, with the way that we can give information to people, or how quickly it can be sent. There's absolutely positive ways that it can be used, and I try to use it in that positive way.
I love that. And that's why I brought it up, because I really love that you're making music that's impactful like that, not only really great music, but it's meaningful, it's purposeful. And, that band in particular spreading love and that message that, yes, that is what's going to change things. The love of other humans, the love of the earth, making a difference, giving back, all of that. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it will kind of ensure that like we're here a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
I mean, that's
that.
like kind of the goal, right? Is to be here a little bit longer, I guess. I don't really know, to be honest. It's like sometimes I'm like, man, when I think about like 2098 or whatever, I'm like, I hope I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really want to be here to see that. But
yeah, but you know what? While we're here, right? While you're here, let's make a positive impact for those who are around in 2098.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to like leave them clean water. So like they can survive. We don't want to, tap this thing until it's dry. So then, yeah, the future can't go on and won't exist. So I think that a lot of people should start thinking, or gear their thinking towards thinking about tomorrow or the future, just trying to make sure that we preserve certain things for the future, which is honestly like, that's why Kamani exists, because we are like, we're purists in the funk, like we're funketeers, and I want to preserve that, as long as possible. I want that to like live on and go to the next generation, because I was not alive. I mean, I was born in 83. There was a lot of great music that happened like the year I was born, but there was a lot of great music that happened, way before I was born. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like I kind of like, I want funk to live on like the way that classical music lives on. Like there were no recordings of classical music, of certain pieces, before recording technology, but the tradition lived on through musicians, through sheet music, what have you, orchestras that like would play this music and they would teach it, to the next guy, to the kid that was sitting next to them, and then they took it and preserved it and then passed it on, and it's like, I definitely feel like, I mean, I know for sure, like there's a lot of funky people out there because I've played with them.
Yes.
But it's kind of like one of those genres of music that just doesn't get, like recognized the way that it should. Absolutely. In my opinion. Like, if you go on iTunes, for instance, if you ever try to release a song on iTunes or Spotify or like whatever, funk is not a category.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, right? That is.
There is no funk category for the Grammys. It's like things like that. It's like, why isn't funk respected as a genre of music? It has inspired, there's so many different genres that have come out of funk.
Absolutely.
There's dance, well, EDM, disco, hip hop. There's so much that has like come out of it. Why isn't it a mainstay?
Yeah. And how do we change that? How does that get changed? I mean, you're obviously working at that from everything that you're doing, which is amazing. And also you're inspiring the next generation of funk players. So that's fantastic. But like, yeah, how does that get changed on Spotify or on the Grammys? I don't know. That's
no idea.
I'm going to make a note.
But I mean, it's crazy to think, I was in a band called Dumpster Funk. The name of the band is Funk.
Yeah.
Dumpster Funk. it's a funk band.
Yes.
You know, but when we released our album, we had to find a category that it fit in.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
like it was like blues. Like funk is not blues. You know what I mean? Like
that is very strange. I'm gonna make a note to look into that because that seems wrong.
It is wrong.
Yeah.
It is wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a category of its own. It doesn't make any sense. And if you're looking for that kind of music, you should be able to find it, right?
Yeah, you should be able to find it.
You should be able to search by funk. Yeah, that is very strange. I don't know, but we're gonna research this.
Yeah.
But I do really love though all that you're doing to push it forward and, like I said, inspire the next generation. And I can remember when I first met you years and years and years back, and you were kind of starting out on this journey because you were, I think, still a student at Berklee when we first met.
Yes, I was.
At Berklee College in Boston, and you were playing all the time at Wally's, and you know, really like one of the things that struck me about you way back then was that you always took like every opportunity to play. You know, whatever opportunity that you could find to play, you were always busy, even back in the college days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that to me is like the key. I mean, it was the key for me. Mm-hmm. You know, like it didn't matter what genre. I mean, like my first like paying gig outside of church was blues. Mm-hmm. You know, and Jose Ramos called me up and he's like, "Hey, you know how to play any blues?" And I was like, "No, but I'll learn." You know what I'm saying? Like, you got money? You want to pay me to play drums? Like, I will learn, you know? And I just, like, took a dive into B.B. King, like, immediately, because that was, like, the only name that I knew, you know? And I was like, all right, let me just listen to all the B.B. King that I can right now and then go play this gig, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but that has allowed me to be able to work, you know, being versatile, you know, being able to play this style, that style, whatever, has, you know, basically just, you know, paid for my life.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I always tell young musicians is never like turn down an opportunity really to play. I mean, unless it's, you know, crazy. I mean, you have to make that decision for yourself. Like, you're not going to hop in a van for $50, you know, and drive 2,000 miles. Like that does not work. But as far as, you know, this side of what you would consider yourself, you know, knowledge in, or, you know, it's just like an opportunity to learn. And that's the thing that I've found out by doing that, is that everything is like so closely related, you know. Like if you like metal and funk, you know, I always use this one because people are like, what? And it's all about tone, you know. If you were to take all the distortion off of Meshuggah, they would be like the funkiest band.
You know, I can understand. Yes.
It's like, you know, instead of distortion, it's like a clean guitar, you know, and the drums too, instead of like having a huge, you know, sound, like the drums are tight, you know, and it's like, if you kind of listen to, it's all different genres of music, like you can hear that. And something I saw the other day, people were sending it to me because they know how much I love Dave Grohl and Pharrell. But they were having a conversation together, and Dave Grohl tells Pharrell, "Yeah, I was just trying to play like Gap Band." Like, wow. And it's like, yeah, you listen to the fills that he's playing with Nirvana. It's just the tone of the drums. He's going slap, chop, chop, chop. You know, that's what the Gap Band was doing. But the, you know, the drums just sound totally different. So people are like, what? You know, it's a completely different genre or style of music. It's like, no, it's the same thing.
Yeah, essentially at the core, right? I saw that clip too and loved it. I was like, yes, I hear it. Now I hear it. I didn't, I would never have picked up on it. Just because, you never know what's in someone's head when they're coming up with a part. But after he said that, I was like, that makes so much sense. Yeah.
Totally.
So good. Yeah. And so you were at Berklee and you were like playing with any genre, any opportunity. And back then I was just like, this drummer is so good. And I just, I thought you were just so fantastic as a person anyway, that I was so excited with the whole Beyonce thing.
Oh yeah.
And this was, my goodness, this was like early 2000s, mid 2000s,
2006.
2006. Okay.
About the gig.
And the fact that she was putting together like an all-female band, and she's continued with that, having this band of just phenomenal female musicians. But when I heard that you were in the first, all-female Beyonce band, I was just like, yes, like this is perfect. It was just so good. And I know you've talked about it before, just how that like kind of like changed your perspective on touring and taught you a lot, which I just love.
Yeah, it taught me so much, but it changed my perspective like on life. I think that like traveling is one of the most important things that anyone can do, because of, like we were talking about before, like the media and the things that you see and like what comes at you. It's like, you don't know if this is real or not or whatever, and like traveling really just puts it all in perspective. I saw all kinds of things. Like I saw horrific things. I saw beautiful things. It's like you see all the things in between. And, I came to the realization, or like my summary thereof, is that everyone is just trying to do the same thing. Like all over the world in general. Yes. There are people that are trying to do other sinister things, but 99% of the planet is trying to eat, shelter, and live. Like, that's basically it.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's like you travel the world, you see that. It's like, okay, it might look a little different from like how you live, but that's just, culture.
Yes. And I think
all that is.
I think just seeing how different and the same everyone is around the world, I think it changes your perspective on your life and your place in the world, maybe, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it is incredibly important to travel, to experience other cultures and foods and places and traditions and all of that, because it does change you as a person, and I think change you for the better, having a different perspective on all of that. And then also it affects, I know I've talked to so many musicians about this, but it affects your music and how you approach it, and what comes out, and the creativity and all of that, because you get this inspiration from all of those things that you saw, good and bad, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I saw like extreme poverty, like people living in a ditch with a tarp and a stick, and also people that didn't have anything but would offer me what they had.
Right.
So just like connecting with people in that way, and like seeing that type of like love, that type of love just for someone that they don't know, love and respect, They're like, hey, you would come to my house to like have some coffee? Like, I have 2 cups, but like I will give you, you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
I'm like, I should be giving you something, you know, but yeah, the world is, it's amazing. It's scary and daunting and beautiful, magical. You know, it's like it's all the things. You it's all the things, like, and it gives you like you said, like a full range of, you know, emotion though, to be inspired by, to write and to give to people.
Yes. And this kind of brings me to a quote that I saw on your website, which I love. And it's like a quote that's very prominent on your site. And it is, being a musician is not only something that you do, it's something that you are. And I feel like that just encompasses everything. It's like you just are a musician, and all of our friends who are musicians, it's like there's no choice. It's not something that you do. It's not a job. It is your job, but it's not a job.
It is, but it's
what
not
you
a
are.
job. Yeah, totally. Because if it was a job, I'd be making, 2 cents an hour. You know, it's like I've dedicated like my entire life to music.
Yes.
And the journey and the creation and the disappointment and the triumph and
Yeah.
and it's we did not choose this.
Yeah, it chooses you, right?
Yeah. And that's why it's very interesting that musicians are musicians, in the sense of this. Musicians are kind of like this part of society that's very interesting. It's like we are probably the most well-informed and equipped to make decisions, to make very important decisions, because we've seen it all. And like we're the perfect like sociologists.
Yes.
Sociologists, psychologists, like because we come across so many people and have met so many people constantly. I probably met like 30 new people last night alone. It's like we actually are the ones that could like really do some great in the world if we were placed in leadership positions. I like truly believe that. Just because like the things that we learn like are not, they like can't be taught necessarily. It's just like something that like you have to experience. It's like you have all these world leaders that like don't know anything about the world.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. And musicians are kind of perfectly suited for that, because we're all people, oriented, right? Like you just said, you met 30 new people last night. Well, now that we've been in isolation for so long, it's a little different, but yeah, it's getting back there, right? But we encounter different people, every different kind of person that you could imagine, with every different kind of life story and, issue or happy thing that's happened. And you share all of that. And I think it makes you uniquely qualified to understand what people need, in general and individually. Even if you're not that person, you understand where they're coming from. And I think, yeah, that's an amazing perspective.
But that's irony, because like we are musicians and we are equipped to do that. So that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
telling the story. You're telling.
That's exactly what we're doing. But I would love to, see a cabinet full of musicians.
Mm.
I would love to see the day, like, but
Yeah.
I mean, not just musicians, artists in general.
Mm-hmm.
Painters, sculptors, writers, thinkers. Like,
Yes.
we're all equipped
Mm-hmm.
to do it. So
Yes. And I think then, there would be more programs for the fostering of that in the future, because I think that's just so incredibly important. So many of us cite, school programs, school music programs, or art, or, those things that inspired us to kind of like go into a line of work that's not, it's not something that you can just go to school for necessarily. Of course, there's music school, and there are other things, but you kind of go to like the school of life and the school of experience and
life university.
Yes, exactly. And then what makes you successful in the end is your tenacity and your willingness to just keep pushing forward. But I think that those are things that maybe aren't the emphasis isn't put on those things by people who maybe value different things. And so I agree with you. It would be so great if there were more musicians and other creative people in those positions of decision making, and hope for that for the future, for sure.
Yeah, I will definitely hope for that for the future. Yeah. Like, I thought about, like, during this whole quarantine, like, I thought about running for office, just for like city council or something like that, just like in my community. Because like that's where it starts. And then it just kind of gets,
grows
all
from
of
there.
The decisions that are made at city council like directly affect you, in your county or like wherever you live. So I was like, maybe I should start in my community, because that's really the only way that you can work outward.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Start right here inside. But that's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, and for someone like you who has a lot of projects going on all the time and a lot of travel.
No, I mean, it's a full-time job.
Yeah,
it's a full-time job.
Yeah,
and that would be a job.
Yes, yes,
like that is a job. It's not like necessarily something that I want, but like I see a need for it.
I agree.
But
I agree. I always think like later on in my life, maybe there's a place for that kind of thing, like more volunteering or running for a council or something like that. But I would vote for you, Nikki. I would vote for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I may need that vote,
You got it.
In the future.
Yeah. It's there. But you give back in so many ways. I just want to point this out because you teach and you volunteer with kids. I remember you doing the camps with the kids, and so I definitely need to point that out. And I'm that's just something that you've done ongoing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, again, it's like a responsibility, like somebody helped me out. Somebody was like, hey, why don't you come over here and do this? It's like we need to do that too.
Yes,
especially since funding is getting cut to music programs and whatnot. It's like that's when we're needed most, because honestly, I do not know what I would be or where I would be if there wasn't music in schools. Like, if I didn't have band in elementary, middle, and high school, imagine that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. 100%.
Like, that's all I did. That is all I did. Was play music.
That's
the entire time I went to school. So it's like you think about these kids that are going to school and there's no music and there's no art.
Mm-hmm.
That is terrifying.
It is. That is terrifying. And I agree with you absolutely. And I know there are a lot of organizations that go to Washington and petition and are out there pushing to keep music in schools. I do think it's so incredibly important. And then
it's essential.
Yeah.
It's just like physical education.
Right.
Like you have to have phys ed.
Yes.
And you have to have music.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Yeah.
And art. I don't really understand it. Just every time I hear it, I'm like, no way. Like, what are they doing? And they're taking the money and doing what with it?
No, I know. I don't understand.
I'm like, you're already not paying these teachers.
Right.
Already. They're not getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you taking that little bit of money that's over there for? What are you doing with it?
Right. And I see so much benefit in all of those things. Like they're not like extra. They go hand in hand with learning English and history and all of that because they use a different part of your brain, and you want kids to think. You want kids to think freely and think creatively. Because it doesn't really matter where you end up in life. You could become a musician, you could become an accountant, but you want to use that part of your brain because there's also, I think, a part of that experience where it teaches you, not only creativity, but how to gain joy out of that, out of music and art, and enjoy it from other people too, even if you're not creating it yourself. So
yeah. It's an outlet.
Absolutely.
And they're still there. I know. So I have lots of friends that are not musicians. Like they just have a piano in their house. They have a guitar. And yes, they're an accountant. They, live in spreadsheets all day long. They come home and they play the guitar.
Yeah. And that's their joy, right?
Yeah. It's joy. It's therapy. It's like all the things.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely but that's the other thing too, is there's been so many studies that proves this, that proves that music is essential and it's wonderful for a child's brain development. It connects synapses and throughways and things. Like we know that.
Right?
There's
It's proven.
It's proven. Like, why are you guys trying to take it away?
Yeah, don't take it away. Okay, so we need to get the funk category added, right?
Yeah.
We need to get school music in schools. We have a lot of work ahead of us here.
Yeah, we got a lot of work ahead of us.
We'll solve all the problems though.
Yeah, we need people drinking clean water too.
Yeah, that too. Yes.
The stuff that's in like most people's tap water is disgraceful.
Right. Yeah.
So actually, I'm just going to do a plug right now. I found this company in California. They're called Clearly Filtered. And they have filtration systems. You can get it like under the sink or like for whatever. You can get a pitcher. Like I just use a pitcher, and I also have a water bottle that has a filter inside of it. So I can get water anywhere and it will filter out pharmaceuticals. It filters out metals and like all the dangerous things that we should not ingest, from our water.
Absolutely. So Clearly Filtered. That's the
Clearly
company.
Filtered.
Okay. I'll put a link in the YouTube description because that's amazing. And I agree. If you read some of the water reports from, water testing, it's really frightening.
It's frightening and nobody's really like talking about it.
Right.
Which is also a thing, It's like we have to talk about these things, the things that are wrong that we see that are wrong and, bring it to light and try and do something about it. and I personally like have felt the benefits of it. Like I didn't even, it's like one of those things where you're drinking water and you don't even know like it's dirty,
Mm-hmm.
and it's killing you.
Yeah.
It's like a couple years ago when they were like, you know what, plastic bottles are not great for water. Like you could get
Right.
cancer from drinking water out of plastic bottles. Like, are you
Right.
kidding me?
Yes. I
Yeah.
know, right? And you would never have, it wasn't something that anyone thought of. And then all of a
No.
sudden it's discovered like, oh, that causes cancer. But you mentioned the pharmaceuticals too. And that is frightening because they do say that there's like every kind of pharmaceutical is in the water that is, that's recycled
Yeah.
for drinking. And
And how does that affect our children?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not comforting.
And so, like I was saying, I've personally felt the benefits of like drinking clean water,
Mm-hmm.
which is just something that people don't really think about. They get like a Brita or like whatever, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's good enough. It's kind of doing the thing. The water tastes better,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you really research like what is in your water, like what is coming out of your faucet,
Mm-hmm.
And how much of that you drink, and over time,
Mm-hmm.
what problems it can cause.
Right.
So like my body, like in myself, in my physical body, I felt the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Like drinking clean water. I'm like, I've never felt this great in my life. So it's incredible. Like even after 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, like my skin's better.
Yes.
My hair is growing fat. You know what I mean? Just like things that you wouldn't. So clearly filtered. They also have shower head filters, which is important because when you take a shower, you take a bath, you're fully immersing yourself. All your pores hurt,
Right. I know. And it's like, it's frightening to think about. I think I've heard of them before. They have like a whole house filter or something too, right? Like
they have a house filter system too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a couple of companies out there,
Mm-hmm.
But this one I just know firsthand because like I use their
Yes, that it works.
Yeah,
and do you take the filtering water bottle? Do you take that on the road with you as well?
Mhm.
That's great. And you can get like replacement filters and stuff.
Yep, you get replacement filters. Like a filter will last me for like 200 gallons.
That's great.
And then I just get a replacement filter. But just that alone, like I save so much money in the airport or like wherever I go because you need water to live. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like one of those things you need to live. So
that's a good tip, though. That's a really good road tip too, because you just never know where you're going to be and what that water is going to be like.
Yeah, yeah, and also, I'm not making waste every day, even if it's glass that is supposedly recyclable. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's something that can be recycled, like I'm not making waste. Because eventually, like, you can only recycle things so many times until they end up in a landfill.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like every time I make a choice to do something that's better for the environment, I feel good about it. Like I'm just like, oh, good. I don't, I switch from sandwich bags to the reusable, like sandwich pouches that you can wash and reuse. And I'm just like
mesh pouches. Yeah,
yes.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you. It's like every time I walk in the grocery store with my bag.
With the with the mesh pouches. I love the mesh pouches.
Right.
For fruit and vegetables, those little pouches are awesome. And then you can just wash them right in the bag. So it's perfect.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize like how much trash they produce in a day. And then for a traveling musician, obviously, it's like it's a lot more. because like I'm not at home, so I have to buy food. I have to, get things that are wrapped in plastic or whatever. That was a good exercise, actually. My friend had a college professor that challenged the class to not buy plastic for the entire week.
Wow.
So if like when they went to the grocery store, they had to buy products that had no plastic wrapping.
Mm-hmm.
It was like virtually impossible.
Yeah. I mean, you think
meat, even like some salads, like
everything. Yeah.
everything. If it's not glass, like you can't buy bread or crackers or rice or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Or even you think about like medicine or, things like that. It is pretty hard. And I've seen examples of people who live like pretty much waste free. And it's incredibly interesting and incredibly time consuming to do that. I think
very time consuming.
Yeah, it's becoming easier with the products like we mentioned with the mesh bags and the sandwich pouches and things like that. There are products out there now that make it a little easier, but hopefully moving into the future, things get, a little bit more mainstream with that.
Because I mean, we definitely, we have an ecological problem, and we have like it's we're in dire straits.
Yes,
like we have to do something.
Yes. When the richest people in the world are finding out how to shoot themselves up into outer space to escape the Earth for the future, like that's a sign there. Maybe we need to.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is, because eventually like populate space. But it's like, how can you do that when you don't know what's out there?
I know. I feel like we could do a whole nother episode on like space travel in the future, because it's like fascinating to me. Always thought about being an astronaut when I was a kid, and I just think about like what is out there. But
it's fascinating.
It is. It is fascinating. But
said, we need to take care of what we have here, because we don't know what's out there.
No.
And like, even if we just go, I don't even know how many miles it is. I don't know how many miles it is, but like maybe I think it's a couple hundred, like maybe like 600 miles or something. I think it is. It's around that number. If you just go like 600 miles, like straight up in the air,
right?
Like then we can't breathe. I mean, that's when the gravity, G-force changes. Yeah. So it's like we can't even deal with that.
I know.
You're thinking about like light years away? No.
Scary. It's overwhelming.
We gotta think about this here, because this was the rock that we were given.
Exactly. So. We'll try to change what we can change where we're at, right? For now. We'll try to make the changes that we can make and affect the future. And I think you're doing a great job at that with the music that you're making and the kids that you're inspiring and the kids that you're working with too. And speaking of which, if someone did want to reach out to you about lessons, I know you're really busy right now, but are you still doing lessons?
Yeah, I still Skype lesson or whatever, Zoom every once in a while, Okay. It is a lot less now because I'm on the road, but sometimes I can squeeze them in there.
Awesome. And people can find your tour dates on your website too. That's pretty updated.
People can find my tour dates on the website. I just worked on that the other day. So
okay.
It is updated, but I'm about to add September dates, like for the Nth Power. There's a lot of dates for the Nth Power coming up, a lot. So we'll probably have those dates up there like next week sometime.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
if anyone is, itching to give money away, um, to a good cause,
Yes.
the foundation that I work with is called the Harold Robinson Foundation. And basically, they take children out of the inner city, out of the hood, out of the ghetto, whatever you want to call it, out of like unfortunate situations, and take them to camp and do like team building exercises. And they kind of, it's really brilliant. I mean, the first time I went to the camp, I cried. We actually wrote a song about it. The Nth Power did, and what they do is incredible. They're giving these kids hope, because a lot of these kids have, like, they're surrounded by violence, sexual assault, drug abuse, like just in their home, around in the neighborhood, just like walking to school, they could get beat up or whatever, and they just deal with a lot. And this camp just kind of gives them hope, like, hey, there is something outside of this 5-block radius, so they basically like take a busload of kids to camp, to nature, and in Lake Hughes, and it's gorgeous. Like, just to see a kid like see the mountains for the first time, they're just like, oh my God, because it's majestic,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like being in nature, and seeing nature is like seeing God. And it's such a great thing to like give that opportunity to the kids. But just that by itself. But then once they get to the camp, they have food. We give them food, feed them, and then we play games with them, but also kind of do a little bit of therapy, because like they'll do some writing classes, and they just kind of say how they're feeling. And a lot of times they don't have that opportunity. Like, they can't say, I'm depressed, and I mean, it's really like life changing, and it's a really beautiful thing. And every cent that gets donated to the organization goes to these kids, to like trying to help them see that there's another way of life.
Yes.
And that there is hope, and that there's opportunity out there. But not only that, but there's people that care about them.
Absolutely.
That see their situation and see them, and know that like they're in a lot of pain. But it's like, you don't have to like know someone to love them. You don't have to know someone to respect them. Which I think is something that's messed up, especially in like American culture. We always say like, you have to earn my respect.
Right.
It's like, no, like, I don't know you. Like, I don't know who you are, where you come from, what you know, what you don't know. Like, I should just respect you because you're a human being.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
if you, like I said, wants to give some money to the organization, it's Harold Robinson Foundation.org.
Okay.
So,
We'll put a link in the description as well.
Yeah. Anyone could go there and check it out and like see what they're doing. It's definitely been challenging because of COVID, but they were able to deliver like 700 pounds of produce, like in the neighborhood. I mean, like, really amazing things, like giving out food, also like teaching kids how to garden, like how to grow food. So they're still doing it. They're still like trying to figure out and trying to make it work, which is incredible.
That is incredible. Thank you so much for mentioning that too. And we will link it in the description in case anyone wants to donate. But thank you for doing that too. And everything that you do for for the future and everything that you stand for. You're just you're absolutely wonderful, Nikki, and I'm so happy that you came on today.
Yeah,
And
I'm happy that we got to talk for a minute.
absolutely, me too.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to see you in person soon.
Yeah, I'll be up that way soon.
Absolutely. In the meantime, everyone check out Nikki's site. Check out any of the many projects that she has going on right now.
Yeah, I try to get them up there, to get all of the bands up there. It's really hard sometimes, but I have like a couple of pages of bands the primary bands that I play with, but it's like you never know.
Yes, it's a lot. Yeah, and things pop up all the time. So people can follow you on Instagram too, because I know you update that.
Yeah, Instagram is a pretty good spot for me. That's kind of like where I'm like, hey, I'll be here tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For the last minute gigs, check out Instagram.
Yeah, for the last minute gigs, totally.
Awesome. Thank you again, Nikki. And I will see you soon.
Definitely.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. Join us each Tuesday for new episodes of Sarah Hagan Backstage.